Okay guys, so this story we're going to talk about has about 3 different parts. So pause the video, go get a drink, go get some nachos, come back, because this might be a little bit lengthy. I'll try and keep it short as I can, but let's just jump straight into it. So, YouTube secretly uses SPLC to police videos. What could possibly ever go wrong with this idea? Southern Poverty Law Center, or basically people I like to assume that blame everything on racism, is assisting YouTube in policy content on their platform, the Daily Caller has learned. The left-wing non-profit, which has more recently come under fire for labeling legitimate conservative organizations as hate groups, or as I like to call it, labeling everybody as a hate group, is one of the more than 100 non-government organizations or NGOs and government agencies in YouTube's Trusted Flagger program. A source with knowledge of the arrangement told the DC. Now, we did hear about this earlier. We were suspecting this. This is obviously just proving what we already knew. The SPLC and other program members help police the YouTube for extremist content ranging from so-called hate speech to terrorist recruitment videos. All the groups in the program have confidential agreements, and spokesperson for Google, YouTube's parent company, previously told the DC a handful of YouTubers, trusted flaggers, including the Anti-Defamation League and No Hate Speech, a European organisation focused on combating intolerance, have gone public with their participation in the program. The vast majority of the groups in the program have remained hidden behind confidentiality agreements. That in itself really does concern me, because if we don't know who's monitoring the videos on YouTube, then at the end of the day, you know, what sort of agenda are they pushing? It's like, hey, here's all our videos, we're going to trust you that you're going to be doing a decent job. For example, these are the same guys that went through and gave the SPLC access to their flagging system, and all of a sudden we have a bit of a problem with every conservative being flagged on YouTube. Not saying they're related, just saying these things might be linked, and that's part of the second story, but we'll keep going. The SPLC's close involvement in the policing content of YouTube is likely to cause consideration among conservatives who worry that they may not be treated fairly. The left-wing group has constantly labelled pedestrian conservative organisations as hate groups and have been directly tied to violence against conservatives in the past. Floyd Lee Calkins, who openly fired at the Family Research Centre in 2012, said he chose the FRC for its actions of violence because of the SPLC listed them as a hate group. So this is where you actually have someone actually going through and opening fire on an organisation because the SPLC has actually listed them as a hate group. What was the organisation? Well, Family Research Centre. So at the end of the day, I thought I'd do a little bit of research, find out what this Family Research, it's actually council, not centre, that ad made a mistake. Find out exactly what the FRC does. It is a non-profitable charity organisation that is an American conservative Christian group and lobbying organisation. Its stated mission is to advance faith, family and freedom in public policy and the culture from Christian worldviews. Now, the FRC was formed in the United States in 1981 by James Dobson and was all incorporated in 1983. In late 1980, the FRC officially division of Dobson's main organisation, focus on the family, etc., etc., etc. So why did the SPLC have a problem with them? Well, you cross over to the SPLC and basically they believe that this Family Research Council believes that homosexual conduct is harmful to the person who engages in it, society at large, and can never be affirmative. Its definition unnatural and is associated with negative physical and psychological health effects. So at the end of the day, a bunch of Christians who do not believe that the gay community is beneficial for society at large was listed as a hate group by the SPLC. Now, I'm not saying that the FRC is, quote, a hate group or that they're not a hate group, but when you go conflating hate groups with Nazis, they're just people that don't like gay people. They have an issue with gay people. Until they start building concentration camps or whatever it may be, I really, it's someone's personal opinion. I don't have to agree with it, and I don't have to like it. I'm not saying I do either way, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's their personal opinion on what their thoughts and opinions are. So, yeah. It's unclear whether the SPLC joined YouTube's Trusted Flagger program, although I have been hearing about it for 12 months, and recently YouTube has gone through and admitted they're putting on 10,000 new staff members for their flagging system. I wonder how many of those are going to be SPLC or these sort of NGOs. The program goes back to 2012, but exploded in size in recent years amid a Google push to increase regulation of the content on its platforms, which followed pressure from advertisers. 50 of the 113 program members joined in 2017 as YouTube stepped up its content policy. Yeah, it's roughly when I heard about it too. YouTube Public Policy Director Jinup Down told Senate Committee in January. Down said the third-party group works closely with YouTube employees to crack down on extremist content in two ways, both of which a Google spokesman previously confirmed to the DC. First, the flaggers are equipped with digital tools allowing them to mass flag content for review by YouTube personnel. Second, the partner groups acts as a guide to YouTube's content monitors and engineers designing the algorithm policy, the video platform, but may lack the expertise needed in tackling a given subject. We work with over 100 organisations as a part of our Trusted Flagger program and value the expertise in the organisations bringing to flagging content for a review. All Trusted Flaggers attend a YouTube training and learn about our policies and enforcement procedures. Yes, but that doesn't remove the bias that they're going to have. Videos flagged by Trusted Flaggers are reviewed by the YouTube content moderators according to YouTube community guidelines. Content flagged by Trusted Flaggers is not automatically removed or subject to any different policies than content flagged from other users, who would not specifically comment on the SPLC's participation in the program. The SPLC did not return multiple voicemails and emails seeking comment. The overwhelming majority of the content policy on Google and YouTube is carried out by algorithms. The algorithms make it easy for rebuttal against charges of political bias. It's not us, it's the algorithm. But actual people with the actual bias write, test, and monitor these algorithms. And the algorithms are far from perfect. Recently we saw YouTube literally go through and ban any word gun in their store. And this even things like, for example, if you wanted to buy a map for a certain town, if it had the word gun in the title, like Gunnedah, for example, in Queensland, up in Australia, then you wouldn't be able to buy the map because it would just come up with no research. So at the end of the day, these algorithms are far from perfect. They don't understand context or anything along those lines. As noted above, Google's anonymous outside partners, such as the SPLC, work closely with internal experts designing the algorithms. This close collaboration has upsides. Google's representatives have said, such as a combating terrorism propaganda on the platform. I'm sorry, but terrorism propaganda is pretty easy to find. You don't need an expert to see that, but regardless. But it also provides little transparency and forcing users to take Google's word for them being treated fairly. And this is what we're seeing, especially over the past couple of weeks. The amount of right wing that have been attacked or struck on their channel has been insane. Infowars, even Andy Warski today has been struck. All, quote, right wing people have been targeted on, and even some of the centrists have been targeted on YouTube. The amount of channels that have been struck lately has, like Sinatra says, Bering is constantly getting strikes on each channel. The amount of strikes that people get is insane. And for the past 2 weeks, they've gone overboard. You know, at the end of the day, whether you like InfoWars or not, them getting a strike on their channel, it was unjustified. The SPLC faces criticism for its caveat definitions of hate groups. Yeah, that's my problem with them too. And extremists. The organisation stoked controversy in 2005 by labelling Dr. Ben Carlson, now the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, an anti-gay extremist. After a backlash, the SPLC revised its ruling and apologised to Carlson. Yeah, personally I would just suit your ass, but anyway. The organisation faced a similar intensive backlash in 2016 for labelling Majid Nawandi a respected counter-terrorism activist and anti-Muslim extremist. Yeah, their definition of hate groups gets very, very liberal, so to speak. The Washington Examiner, Emily Jaskinski, noted last year that the SPLC's claim to objectivity is nothing less than fraudulent, and reality that informed observers its practice from both the left and right accepts. The routine of debunking their supposedly objective classifications occurs like clockwork each time a major outlet makes the mistake of turning to them when reporting on many conservative thinkers and non-profits of the group observably designed as hateful. The SPLC faced tough criticism, not for just conservatives, but mainstream press as well. Quote, at the time when the line between hate group and mainstream politics is getting thinner and the need for productive civil discourse is growing more and more serious, fanning liberal fears, while a great opportunity for the SPLC, might be a problem for the nation. Politico magazine Ben Stuckowicz, might be mispronouncing, wrote last year. And that's my problem with the SPLC too. If you have a group or an organisation that literally makes money off hate groups by victims, like for example, look, hate group, give me funding, for example, then anything is a hate group. Anybody is fair game. So, yeah, that's my problem with the SPLC too. Bloomberg columnist Megan McArdle, might be mispronouncing, similarly noted last year that the SPLC commonly lumps in principal conservatives alongside actual racists and extremists, and warned of the possibility that tech companies could rely on the SPLC's misleading definitions. Given the increased tendency of powerful tech companies to flex their muscle against hate groups, she wrote, we must see more and more institutions unwillingly turn into critics or censors, not just of Nazi propaganda, but also of fairly mainstream ideas. So you're probably wondering, why are we talking about all this? Well, because this is actually going to lead into our next article. YouTube's new moderators mistakenly pull right-wing channels. Mistakenly pull right-wing channels? How did they mistakenly pull them, YouTube? Let me know. YouTube's new moderators brought in to spot fake, misleading, and extremist content stubbled in one of their first major events, mistakenly removing some clips and channels amidst the nationwide debate on guns. They didn't. What do you mean mistakenly removed? How do you mistakenly flag a channel? There's a lot of mistakes that you need to do to complete this step. Okay, let's not go claiming it's a mistake when it's most likely going to be people's political bias that affected their decisions. The Google division said in December it was assigned more than 10,000 people to moderate content after a year of scandal over fake and inappropriate content on the world's largest video site. In the wake of February 14th school shooting in Parkland, Florida, some YouTube moderators mistakenly removed several videos and some channels from right-wing pro-gun video producers and outlets. It wasn't even that. There was actually literally a channel that was a body language channel that had been referenced by InfoWars that was taken down. Yeah, someone telling whether or not you're lying when you're talking apparently is hate speech now. Actually, that would be interesting to find out. Did they make a video on these kids giving these interviews? And is that why they were taken down? I'll have to check that out. Some YouTube channels recently complained about their accounts being pulled entirely. On Wednesday, the outline highlighted accounts, including Tyrus Frost, don't know that one, were banned from the video site. Frost tweeted on Wednesday that the survivor of the school shooting, David Hogg, is an actor. Well, he was in the drama class, so, you know, there's that. Jerome Corsi of the right-wing conspiracy website InfoWars said on Tuesday that YouTube had taken down one of his videos and disabled his live stream. Yeah, they have. They've stopped InfoWars from live streaming. Shutting entire channels would have marked a sweeping policy change for YouTube, which typically only removes channels in extremist circumstances and forces most disciplinary action on specific videos. But YouTube said some of the content was taken down by mistake. There's that mistake word again. The site didn't address specific cases, and it's unclear if it's meant to take action on the accounts of Frost and Corsi. There's a lot more accounts that need to be looked into than just that, okay? This is the proverbial iceberg. There is a whole stack under the waterline that you've not noticed. I'm going to try and find a list of people that were actually affected by this takedown, or these takedowns or strikes, and I'll try and put a list here for people. But yeah, you get an idea of some of the channels that were taken down, including Andy Warski. Even today got a strike on his video from a video he made 3 years ago where he was talking about Francesca Ramsey. Like, they claimed he was bullying her then. As we work to rapidly hire and ramp up our policy enforcement teams throughout 2018, newer members have misapplied some of our policy, resulting in mistaken removals. A YouTube spokeswoman wrote in an email, "We're continuing to enforce our existing policies regarding harmful and dangerous content, but they have not changed. We will reinstate any videos that were removed in error." Okay, that's half the problem. What about people with strikes on their channels? YouTube needs to go through and re-evaluate every strike and takedown they've taken in the past week or 2 weeks. Because there is a mass amount of people that have, quote, been unfairly targeted by, quote, mistakes. The misstep pulls YouTube, Google, and partner Alphabet Incorporated deeper into a toxic political fight over gun control, fake and extreme content, and whether internet companies should be responsible for what third parties post on their services. The episode also shows how the huge video site continues to struggle with policing the service and how difficult it is to spot troubling and content and decide whether the material should be taken down. No, it's really not difficult. And stop trying to blame Google's process for this. This isn't anything to do with Google's process. This is Google hiring what I presume is a bunch of progressives, not getting, quote, diversity, because diversity is our strength when you're hiring practices, and having an office full of progressives who literally need a safe space. Like, thanks to the Demore lawsuit, literally someone gave a talk at YouTube on what it's like being a yellow scaled wing dragonkin. This was one of the talks they gave. Like, yeah, this is what YouTube's doing instead of policing videos. In the wake of Florida shooting, Google and other internet companies are facing external pressure to remove the National Rifle Association (NRA) TV channel from their video streaming services. To date, YouTube and other services haven't pulled the NRA's official channel. By the way, link in the description below. Go and subscribe to the NRA because they actually do make some pretty good videos. I've recently subbed to them, and I haven't gone through a lot of their videos, but I've clicked on one or two and they were quite interesting. YouTube's official policy says that harmful or dangerous and hateful content can violate its guidelines. If video creators break the rule 3 times within 3 months, YouTube terminates the account. The problem obviously with that is they don't exactly tell you what is a harmful or dangerous or hateful material. So, yeah. Alex Jones, who runs InfoWars and has pushed conspiracy theories, talk about that in a sec, about school shooting, is the most outspoken, self-proclaimed victim of YouTube. He is. How much... I have a great amount of sympathy for Alex Jones because he gets so much shit on what he does. And I honestly believe he actually believes 75% of what he talks about. I believe there's about 25% where he's energetic, he's exciting, and he's just trying to be interesting for the camera. Like, he goes on his rants and stuff like that. I think he gets a little bit carried away with some of those, but it's an entertainment show. People tune into you on entertainment if you're interesting. So I think that's why he does that part. But he gets a large amount of flack from YouTube, mainstream media, progressives, government. Like, InfoWars was literally labeled in Congress in the US as apparently having ties to Russia. How did that work out for you? Like, subsequently, InfoWars is now bigger than ever, and there was no ties in the end. So, yeah. On Tuesday, an InfoWars article stated that Google was purging conservative media. Do you blame him for saying that? Lists of people being banned off YouTube lately. Like, hello? Claiming that CNN and other news outlets were lobbying Google to terminate the InfoWars channel. They literally wrote an article saying that InfoWars is 2 strikes away from getting its channel shut down. What do you think that was? What do you think that was? Do you think that might have been CNN going through and hoping that their base would go through and mass flag InfoWars videos? Because I think it was. I think it was a little dog whistle to go to InfoWars and flag their videos so they can get taken down. Because obviously at the end of the day, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, obviously the Bloomberg here is, or Bloomberg Technology, is trying to blame YouTube or YouTube's policy. It's not that. It's not the policy itself. It's the people that go through and actually dictate or decide or use their bias to decide which videos are harmful, dangerous, or hateful. Now, obviously, we know from the James Damore lawsuit, like I said, that they have a big thing about hiring progressives. They need more diversity in their hiring. Hey, it's your word, not mine. And basically, at the end of the day, that would probably solve a lot of the issues. It's not a case of the policies failing here. It's a case that they've employed 10,000 people. I'm guessing it's in Silicon Valley. I'm guessing they're predominantly progressive. And I'm guessing they've overstepped their mark. And YouTube has had to go through and admit they've stuffed up. And mainstream media has now basically admitted that, well, InfoWars was right. That these channels were mass flagged for no apparent reason. So, yeah, sucked in mainstream media. I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think that YouTube has a mass problem when it comes to its hiring and diversity issues? Do you think they need more conservatives on their team? Do you think maybe I should go and work for YouTube? Hey, I'm Trusted Flagger 2.0. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.